South Korea is over. This sounds brutal, but South Korea will soon start melting on all fronts. Demographically, economically, socially, culturally, and militarily. Here's then 100 South Koreans will have 36 kids. When they grow up, they will have 13 kids who will then have 5.
Wow.
Within 4 generations, 100 South Koreans will turn into 5.
I have a solution for the child crisis in East Asian countries, but nobody likes it, okay? Nobody likes the solution. Again, it's time to import a bunch of Africans into the East Asian countries, all right? This is actually what I support, yes. It's time to just get a bunch of immigrants, all right? Open up the borders, let in a bunch of immigrants, have them... I'm not joking! I'm literally not joking. I know, it sounds like I'm memeing, okay? It does actually sound like I'm memeing. But I'm not memeing. I'm not. Because I don't actually like care about East Asian race purity. I think that stuff is cringe. If you want to save your country from collapse, yeah.
If we look at today's South Korean population pyramid, we see this is pretty real. There's only one 1-year-old.
But like it's the stubborn xenophobia that will end these East Asian countries, all right? And Korea isn't the only like place that's experiencing this. It's also Japan, and it's also China. So it's all of them.
For 4 50-year-olds. After 4 decades below the replacement level, the consequences were still largely invisible. Today, South Korea's population is at an all-time high, as are its workforce and its GDP, which is still growing. But demographics hits you like a freight train. You hear it vaguely in the distance, and then it runs you over. So in 2060, pensions will have to be paid by the working population. Estimates vary, but for a pension system to work, the minimum a society needs is between 2 to 3 workers per retiree paying for them with their taxes. But even if we assume that all South Koreans over 15 will be working in 2060, the country will have less than 1 worker per senior. Workers will be unable to stem the incredible costs. So not only will poverty among the elderly be common, but a big chunk will be forced to work. Except they may not be able to find jobs because by 2060, the South Korean economy may have collapsed. Broadly,
bring in the black men, okay? Enough of this, all right? Enough of this stubbornness, all right? We need to start bringing in the black men, okay? It's time.
There won't be enough money to invest in the future. This is bad. But what will happen to South Korean society and culture may be worse. Societal and cultural collapse. Speculating on how societies will develop is extra hard, but there are a...
This is why conservatism is a fucking mental disease, all right? It's this exact cult-like stubbornness to keep your race and ethnicity pure that prevents you from saving your own civilization, all right? This needs to stop. We need to have more breeding. We need to have more sex. Okay, that's enough. No, but America probably won't be any help because of Trump destabilizing everything. Yeah, exactly, that too. But like, I mean, I'm just saying. It's
few pretty unavoidable trends.
Yeah.
Today, already about 20% of Koreans live alone. Also, 20% report...
Like, do you guys know how racist... Do you guys know how racist East Asians are? They're extremely racist, okay? This is why they're not exactly the friendliest country to go and immigrate to. It's like it's great for a vacation. It's great for a vacation, but it's not great for like day-to-day living. You get what I mean?
Having no close friends or relatives. By 2060, 50% of South Koreans aged 70 will have no siblings and 30% will have no children. Young adults between 25 and 35 will only make up 5% of the population and typically have no siblings at all. This leaves the elderly with almost no close family and young adults with little family and few potential friends, especially outside of big cities. A loneliness epidemic of epic proportions is all but. Rural areas will decline and most smaller cities will turn into ghost towns. We're already seeing this in Japan, which has almost 10 million abandoned houses in rural areas. large parts of South Korea will simply vanish and be reclaimed by nature. Last but not least, South and North Korea are technically at war, and they could very well still be in 2060. Will South Korea still be able to afford to have its young men do 18 months of mandatory military service? Today, 5% of men of combat age are enrolled in the military. In 2060, it would have to be 15% just to match today's numbers. Okay, wait, this is all a bit much. Is there no way back?
Belle, they're talking about your country.
Why, there really is no way back. The problem with the demographic freight train is that once it hits, things become irreversible. Let's say fertility in South Korea magically triples to the replacement rate of 2.1 children per woman and stays there. In 2060, it will be an inverted pyramid on top of a barrel. And there would still be only 1.5 people of working age per senior over 65. Even in the best made-up scenario, South Korea has to pass through an unavoidable bottleneck before it will recover. But there is also a kernel of hope here. Yes, the situation is grim, but at least in the long term, recovery is possible if South Korea enacts rapid and societal changes that make its population want to have kids again. In 2020,
Do it, say it. More black people, say it. No, but I'm serious though, right? Because immigrants are only a net positive to the economy of the country. I mean, it's either that or you're gonna have the country fucking die. I talked to this Curtis Yarvin fan named the Distributors, and we talked about how these East Asian countries are dying. Like, they're literally dying, okay? Because it's all old people and there's no young people, and yeah, the culture is dying. It is. Like, that is. It is what it is, all right? And the reason for that is just simply because of racism. The issue is just simply because immigration is too hard. And it's because of racism. Or the government fucking sucks. Nobody wants to go there. So, you know, like, I don't know, man. Because these Asians are stubborn, okay? Like, I will say these Asians are really stubborn. Just look at my parents. Just tell my parents, all right? My parents are complete psychos, all right? Like, they would probably rather have China die, and like, they would probably be more comfortable with China having its boy-girl, like, differentiation crisis thing than it would to have like a bunch of Chinese people marrying off to black people or something, you know? Better working conditions? Well, good luck with that, because all the East Asian countries are like, they are capitalist dystopias, all right? Like, literally, we're talking about high skyscrapers, what looks like rich people, but then in reality, it's a bunch of overworked salarymen, you know? So, yeah.
24 births rose for the first time in 9 years, 3% more.
And for some reason, every single one of these East Asian countries have this one test that you take after high school, and you become so anxious that you fucking throw up, because they're like, you know what, we're going to ignore your entire life except for like this one test. This one test is the only thing that matters. It's probably the most retarded fucking measuring system for like how your future is determined. So yeah, of course, no shit, like, it's fucking dystopian over there, right? You can't just like determine everything on like a single fucking test. It's retarded, right?
More than in 2023. But for that to continue, South Korea needs to face the music and ask how they got to this point. How could it get that bad?
Yeah, Lin.
In general, as societies get richer, more educated, and child mortality plummets, people decide to have fewer kids. What makes South Korea special is that it's somehow supercharging all of these trends. South Korea lifted itself out of poverty in record time, but in doing so, it developed a unique kind of workaholism and extreme competitiveness. Although the work week is 40 hours and the legal maximum is 52 per week, unpaid overtime is normal for many, and the government even proposed to raise legal work time to 69 hours per week. Despite this, South Korea has relatively low wages and a high cost of living. Real estate in big cities is out of reach for most people. The cost of education is extremely high, since families have to pay for private lessons if they want to send their kids to a high-tier college. All of this while South Korea spends less on family benefits than most other rich countries. Old-fashioned cultural norms make matters even worse. Marriage is all but mandatory if a couple wants to start a family. In 2023, only 4.7% of babies were born to unmarried women. Out of all developed countries, South Korean men do just about the least share of housework and childcare within their families. This leaves women with a disproportionate amount of work if they want to keep their jobs after a pregnancy.
Red
While
pill.
many men are overwhelmed by the societal expectation to be the main breadwinner and have successful careers. Starting a family or not is a personal decision, and most South Koreans are deciding against it. The bottom line.
I think more conservative outlets will always say we have an underpopulation crisis and we need to have more babies. But then they come away with the wrong fucking conclusion. Instead of, oh, we need to increase immigration, we need to change the traditional culture, instead they say, we need to have more white babies. We need to have more pure Asian, Han Chinese, or insert ethnicity here babies because we want to keep our race pure. So it's like, you're basically like throwing your voice to the wind because you're complaining about a problem with no feasible, actual, like tangible solution. Because it's not. You're telling people to get more babies when they're not in a position to. They're not in a position to get more babies. Cause life fucking sucks. So, obviously it's not like it's not feasible to ask for any of this. Obviously, the tangible solutions are like immigration, actual effort to change the working culture, that kind of stuff.